A warm welcome to today's first session, Smoke Management, Egress and Passive Fire Protection in High-Rise Building. May I request all of the delegates who are here, please settle down first so that we can start the session immediately. May I again request delegates, please settle down so that we can start the session immediately. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Saurabh Agarwal, President, Delhi Fire Chapter. Warms welcome you, all of you, for today's first technical session on smoke management, egress, and fire protection in high-rise buildings. As we know, smoke is the silent killer in fire incidents. Fire-safe evacuation of building occupants, smoke management through passive fire protection measures and ventilation provisions is very vital. I welcome our esteemed moderator to open the first Tech VARTA of the day on this subject. I welcome Ms. Anuja Sawant, Principal Architect, SSA Architects. I will request all the delegates, please welcome ma'am on the stage. Now I invite the panelists for this panel. Mr. Moreshwar, Deputy Fire Advisor, Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India. Please, we welcome you, sir, on the stage. Please join, ma'am. Mr. Manish Dubey, Vice President, MEP K. Raheja Group. Welcome you, sir. Professor Gaurav Srivastava, Professor, Department of Civil Engineering, IIT Gandhinagar, and Chief Executive, FERL. Mr. Gautam, Senior Associate and Lead Consultant, SKM Consultant. We welcome you, sir. Mr. Naveen Bhargav, Technical Director, AUCOM India. We welcome you, sir, on this Tech VARTA. And we have one more panelist, Mr. Gautam Dey, Group President, M3M. We also welcome you, sir, in this Tech VARTA. Good morning and welcome you all of the panelists and moderator, ma'am. Your time is for 45 minutes for this session, so please try to conclude in this. And we will not give any memento on the stage, so just the group photo after the discussion, and all the mementos will send to the respective people, guest rooms.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you hear me? Good morning. So I am just in continuation with yesterday's inspirational talk. I'm a simple architect and I have a great panel. Okay, so I would begin with you, sir, Moreshwar, sir. And my question to you, what has been the journey of firefighting designing in India over the past 20 years, and where are the high-rises building today? That's all.
Good morning. Good morning to moderator ma'am and my colleague on the dais as a panelist. This is really a fantastic beginning of this session. Probably from last 20-30 years, we have seen a very significant changes into our landscape of urban agglomeration. A lot of challenges are evolved, but along with that challenges, we also, in a time, made ourselves ready in a form of lot of interventions, in a form of technological, in a form of design, in a form of policy making. So at national level, and probably, as you know, that this urban development or agglomeration is a subject of state. So state has their own liberty to evolve accordingly, but at national level, policy making is one of the principal mandate has been given. So at nationally, you find that National Building Code through BIS or Ministry of Housing and Urban Development had from a long time, and today also, recently in 2023 also, they have given their model building bylaws. So model building bylaws is again a landscape provision for all the settings of our high-rise buildings or building construction for entire nation. You will go through that model building bylaw, you will see they have taken care of entire geographical structure or geographical landscape of our nation. Terrains, type of construction, hilly areas, coastal areas, and I think none of these things has been left out where they have not touched upon. And similarly, in congruence to that, or in hand, BIS through National Building Code also taking care of the same thing, so that probably in next 25 we'll see the new picture of our national policy in a form of uniformity and standardization in urban agglomeration. So last 20 years, a lot of things has changed, lot of things has evolved, and evolving, see, we have in 87, then in 92, then in 16, then in 25 probably. These are the changing things, and we are absolutely ready for the new challenges, what I feel.
Okay. Great answer, great beginning. Now let me come to developers representative, and I know Manish is here and Gautam is here. So one by one I expect you to answer. So more or you see the real estate market, the high rises are more on the developer side. Now, how the attitudes of developer has changed towards the whole ball game of the life and fire safety when it comes to delivering the product to the customers. So one by one, first Manish and followed by Gautam.
Hi, good morning. We are into developing of super high rises now. 200, 250 plus is a normal now in Mumbai. We are working on some 300 plus also. And the clientele, what we are serving is super HNIs and, who are very sensitive and they invest a lot into our properties. So it is all the more important. Of course, every life is important, but after, we have started appointing fire life safety consultants to ensure that we just do not lose any bit of or iota of concern from the customer's point of view. He should not be feeling unsafe when he's getting into our property. So we are very sensitive, and I think this sensitivity should not be limited to only for high rises. It should be for every type of project, whether it's for affordable housing or for a premium or a luxury project. But currently it's more concentrated or more towards high rises and luxury projects. So we are very sensitive towards that.
What's your opinion, Gautam?
Yeah. Good morning to all. Good morning, all the guests, panelists. So about real estate, I wanted to share with my small journey. I was with DLF. I was heading the operation Pan India. Then I joined M3M. Right now, I'm heading that as a group president of the whole group. So as far as the real estate concerned, I would definitely like to say about the journey with DLF. Of course, Dr. Deri Saab ke saath, we have worked we have traveled a long journey. He was the person who brought a new dimension for the real estate by introducing the first 90-meter hydraulic lift in real estate as a private real estate. I think in the world, we are the only one that time. And Dr. Sami is also, who is kind enough to call me because I am new to this forum. He has asked me to join. As far as real estate is concerned, only the A-grade real estate, I should not say is focusing on the fire safety part. There are, whoever is coming, who wants to give a quality life to the occupants as well as the residents, they definitely look for the fire safety as the number one priority, in addition to sustainability and other part of deliverable service. One part I would like to mention here, as a real estate developer, we should see the retrofitting of the existing building also, so that it meets the latest requirement of the NBC code. Thank you.
Okay, so we started with the rule maker. We started next with the real estate industry. Now let me come to the designers. When the rules are in place, developers are willing to attempt all the life and fire safety. As a designer, as a MEPF designer, when it is at the conceptual level or when we are at the level of execution, when the whole design process is going on, Navin and Gautam, I have a question to both of you, that what do you think currently you're facing challenges as far as the high-rise design is concerned, right from your core design, or even you may have 4 fingers towards me or 3 fingers on the developer side. So what would be your critical aspect when you talk about smoke management, egress, or even from the passive fire protection? So I would really want to feel that the hit what you get it.
Good morning, everyone. See, ma'am, the challenges that we face, particularly in terms of passive fire protection, number one is your coordination within our MEPFs and with architectural and structure services. So having the...
You can get your mic little closer to you.
Even with the high-rise buildings, we have the complex routings of the ducts, pipes, cables, and whatnot. So that makes the things very critical for us to select the products accordingly and to wave off these integrity problems or issues within the system. So second part, when we come to it, is about the cost and budget constraints, wherein the products are quite costlier when we select those products. So that is also a constraint. So we have to have multiple choices with us available, with the costing available, so that it can be passed on to the client, so that they can select the different options.
Okay, I would hold you for a minute and let me come to Manish. Now, when he talked about the cost, do you agree with that?
I would not agree, because there is no cost for life. So, I mean, we are very critical and sensitive towards towards life safety. So, from a developer's point of view, while we are bound with our liabilities of providing a firefighting system or a fire alarm system, we are also very sensitive towards life. Every life matters, as I said earlier.
He's also true. There are certain clients who do look forward to it in a very positive manner, but there are certain clienteles who are always cost conscious. So he's also right on his way.
Maybe they take advantage of the gaps that are there
in
between the codes.
Yes, yes. Then next is the integration with the building envelope, particularly the facade. Nobody wants to spoil it, and the architects particularly do not allow us to go with it. So there is a limited availability of the fire-rated glasses wherein it is required, particularly at a facade area. So again, the cost concern is there. Then if we talk of the other concerns that we are facing, particularly in the passive fire protection system, is the product compatibility with the buildings and the service life of it. So we have to have a very particular selection in terms of this on these two parts, that is the compatibility with the building components and with the serviceability of it, so that it runs for at least for the building life. And when said with the building life may be for 50 years or maybe for 100 years.
so the servicing has to be done for the penetration wherein this product is being used. So that has to be such that which can be removed during the servicing of the pipes or cables or ducts and can be reinstalled, so that the cost is saved. So these are all the challenges wherein which we are facing as of now.
So, Gautam, your views, and I'll again come back to the panel for in continuation with the same question.
Sure, yeah, thank you. Good morning, everyone, and the delegates. So, in my viewpoint, on a lighter note, you started it that architecture is quite simple, but that is from an architectural viewpoint, but I think simple architecture becomes complex MEP and structural solution, results in we have to end up with a complex structural solution. We basically will have to follow an integrated approach towards the design. Aesthetics is something which aesthetics and functionality is something which cannot be compromised, because what is seen is what is sold for the developer, and what is shown is what is sold for the architect, and we have to make a balance between both of these without compromising on the MEPF solution or the passive or the egress methodologies that are adapted in the project. So I think challenges are there for sure. If there is no challenge, there is nothing like there is no job for you and me in this market. So challenges are there, and if we follow this integrated design approach, that our ultimate goal is that we have to the functionality should not be affected. The aesthetic should not be compromised to the extent feasible, but at the same time we have to come out with a solution which is good for that particular application. When we talk about a passive methodology, for example, in a compartmentation methodology, we may have a physical barrier. If it is affecting a functionality, we may have to go for a fire curtain or a water curtain system, which may incur additional cost compared to a physical partitioning system, where developer has to give us helping hand with respect to the finances, so that you get a good product from the aesthetic viewpoint. At the same time, we are not compromising on the functional requirement of the building.
Okay, so I have one common question to all of you. Of course, we are talking about the cost. We are talking about the implementation of the various mechanical components. But let me go to the basics. Right now, of course, Moreshwarji said that all the codes are very much enforced. But do you think when you're working for past several 25, 30 years, you still feel that the certain elements in the codes needs a correction, and I would say the correction. So I would like to understand from each and every one of you that what sort of a correction or is required. I mean, as an architect, I constantly still thinking about the egress, width, the kind of staircases, how I can reduce the number of staircases, but the life and fire safety or the kind of sheds what has been required. So what sort of a correction is required, to be honest, right now after doing so many years of practice and analysis? So one by one, all of you.
As a policymaker, let me have my own comment first.
Okay.
I do believe the corrections do required. I reiterate, corrections do required. Because things are always in dynamics. We cannot go with a single yardstick. Nothing should be static. As you move around from last 20, 30, 40 years, and we are now moving from 4 mala to 200 floors. So things must happen in a hand-in-hand way. Changes must be there, and that should be in a pragmatic way. It should be always in a pragmatic way, in due consultation with the stakeholder on board, because this is not a one-way communication. A lot of facility members, facility associated stakeholders are involved in this business. This is a very complex matter, right from legal issues, development, economic development, expansion of cities, accommodation of migrated population, and terrains of nation. So changes do need, and I am very sure that our committee of NBC are very much aware about this aspect, and they will definitely take care of these changes into upcoming NBC, including part 4.
Sorry, any specific guideline from NFPA you feel still not implemented in NBC, and that would be a game changer for high rises? Anybody? I mean, that's how I'm looking at that. Certain codes are much better in NFPA, and those guidelines should be referred while designing, and that would add a great value for the overall high-rise design. So,
in my opinion, I am not sure. There are a lot of thoughts and discussions which are happening on NBC 2025, but the performance-based approach is something which is followed by NFPA, Life Safety Code 101, which I feel is missing in the present version of NBC. Probably that is thought of in the group. So with respect to the egress and everything, we have defined with respect to the each kind of building categorization, we have defined the width of the staircase requirement and everything. And of course, we have improved upon what we have been in the past, and we will improve in the future as well for sure. We have taken a few things, but this performance-based approach is something I feel is not addressed in the present version. Probably will be updated in the upcoming version. People. So sir, so for example, if we are talking about egress with respect to a highly volume space, which has a double height sort of space and other things, when we say that building has to be sprinklered, generally we come across this in the NOCs that building has to be sprinklered.
Okay. Yeah, I was about to come to you, Gaurav, and I was trying to create that kind of a setup for you so that I can come to you. So over to you.
Okay.
So I think,
yeah, please go ahead.
I think any changes in the code, I think is the second step. First step is change in the mindset of how we think about safety. And that mindset I've seen change quite a bit in the recent past. One of the major changes which I've seen is earlier our fire safety systems were mostly active fire systems based. But now there is a lot of discussion on passive fire systems, which is a very, very welcome thing. And just to give an example for high-rise buildings, see earlier when we talk about fire safety or egress, once you have evacuated people, life safety is ensured, right? And then people are less worried about the structure. But for high-rise buildings, structural fire safety becomes very important because there are refuge floors. People will go there, they will be there till the time firefighters come and they're able to rescue them, right? So we do need a lot of focus on passive systems as well as structural fire safety. From only structural point of view, I feel going back to prescriptive versus performance-based, I don't see a lot of structural engineers as of today who are aware about how to do calculations, performance-based calculations for structural fire safety. So most of them would rely on ratings which are given in tables that cover thickness is so much and width is so much, so this has this much fire rating. However, that is not true in several cases, especially when we go to high-rise buildings. True. So that is something which I feel can be slowly incorporated. It has already come into the thought process, so I'm sure it will eventually come to the codes as well.
Okay. Anybody else wants to add anything to this discussion, or shall I move to the next question?
No, that's all I think.
Okay. So coming to you, Gaurav, as I understand that there is a fire safety facility which is in IIT. Can you talk about it so that everyone is oriented about the kind of a facility which is available?
So we have a passive fire system testing facility. There are two parts to it. One is a large-scale structure which was a research facility built in collaboration with UL, where we did a lot of facade testing, and many of us here have witnessed several experiments there. Of late, since last year, we have a functional panel furnace which is able to test fire doors, partition elements, etc. for standard fire exposures. So basically calculation of fire ratings, etc. becomes possible. And we are also in the process of augmenting it further. Now, this is the experimental part of it, but there is also a lot of computer simulation part of it that we do. For example, Egress is one of the topics here. So we are doing a project with metros where we are looking at modeling of egress scenarios under different conditions. So if a fire happens or if some other unforeseen event happens where egress is required and a full train has come, how will egress happen and what are the requirements? So there are two types of problems we are facing. One is that the old metro stations, especially in Delhi, which were not so crowded 20 years back, are extremely crowded now. We are seeing a lot of mixed occupancy. Earlier, these were only metro stations, but now one of the metro stations also has a VFS office. There are shopping malls, there are eateries. So this adds to the landscape of risk which has to be addressed. And then obviously there is a need to expand them because the ridership is increasing. And the second type of problem is for new metros or new cities, we are now developing a lot of this metro ecosystem. So we are working on a computational as well as experimental methodology to do egress. But what we are trying to see is most of the egress modeling that happens, it utilizes parameters, model parameters, which are not based on India. Right? So for example, these parameters include, for example, how fast a human walks, how do they interact with each other while they're going, what are the psychological factors. So there are very little Indian-oriented studies which are available. So that's what we were trying to do with Delhi Metro. We have almost completed that work. So we are trying to see how these parameters now affect the egress modeling approach that we are trying to do.
Okay, Bhuneshwarji, you wanted to add something to this?
As Professor Gaurav said, on behalf of Professor Dr. Sontakke, I would like to add the similar sort of facilities are now erected in National Fire Service College, Nagpur also. Right from testing to consultancy to egress modeling, evacuation methodologies, even designing of ERPs also, this sort of activity is being taken care by National Fire Service College, Nagpur. So from this platform, I would like to say, now within the entire fire fraternity, any sort of problems, the solution is available with NFSC Nagpur.
Oh, that sounds great. My question to all of you, just like for the high rises, typically for structurally we do wind tunnel analysis. Now, and it is simulated. We make a model and then we simulate to see that what kind of an impact it has on the comfort or it has impact on the facade. And similar way, is it possible to simulate from the fire perspective? Is that sort of a simulation we have started doing? We have to start doing it, and how we are going to make sure that while we are designing, we ensure that our structure is simulated for the passive fire strategy. The question is open to all of you.
So I'll take that. So simulation is absolutely required while we are doing, or it depends on the local CFO also, who can insist for those simulations. Somehow it is not happening, but I personally feel that simulation study should happen, at least for these very critical smoke management and egress things. In one of my projects in Pune, the Pune CFO asked us to do the hydronic analysis of the whole firefighting system, which we did, and I was very happy to submit that we were confident on that whole system. Similar simulation should be mandated for smoke management while it is being done in commercial buildings, complexes, but for a residential building it is not mandated and generally not asked for. But for responsible developers, I think we should get it done.
Chennai Metro did a lot of these simulation studies, and in fact they optimized on their underground metro designs. And there is, I think, Delhi-based firm which did a lot of these simulations. From a structural fire simulations point of view, so we have been working on it quite a bit. One of my PhD students wrote a code also which can now actually you can do structural as well as fire combined. And there are software also available. The only issue is that the expertise to use those software is not available. And the inclination to learn that is also not there. So that's where when I mentioned most structural engineers are not interested in learning this. But unfortunately they will have to learn it since we are going high-rise.
But when it comes to MEP planning, I mean, my question was more like NBC talks that there has to be a cross ventilation, or NBC says that you can have a pressurization and the natural ventilation. So when you simulate, probably you will be able to understand how the system works. And I think structurally, fire codes or the codes are looked upon in a different way. But when it comes to the MEP strategies, where we are and how simulation is going to help me, because today my design is aided for all these aspects. But when it comes to MEP, my client is going to ask me whether it's going to work. I'll look at my MEP consultant and I say, he knows, Baba, usne kiya hai. So how about that?
So like he's already, Manishji has already explained it. So for few projects, we did a project where Ashok sir was there as a CFO at that point of time in Goa. And we have a scenario of very high spaces in an airport where sprinklers will be ineffective and smoke extraction system has to be planned. If we go by NBC at that point of time, the egress widths and the distances were quite short. The functionality was getting affected to accommodate those things. So we did a smoke simulation. In fact, before getting an NOC, we met the CFO, we gave a smoke simulation, we gave the video, and we have given a detailed report how the smoke is. We have created a scenario of a natural inflow of air and the mechanized way of extraction, natural inflow and natural extraction methodologies through automated louvers on the top. So we have given suitable justification as to why we don't need so much of a exits in a airport building which will hamper the functionality of the space. At the same time, not compromising on the egress requirements as well as the smoke extraction requirements. So it really helps, like when we go on a performance-based approach, and when we can prove through performance that this building will perform this way in case of a fire scenario, and with able authorities in place who understand the performance-based approach and gives approval on the basis of it, it becomes life a lot easier for you as well as us. And the client can see what tends to happen in case of a fire, rather than just believing in one's words. It is a performance-based approach.
Any thoughts from Gautam, Navin on this, or Manish you have?
No, I completely agree to what he is saying, and that will make us more confident on the systems that we are providing. And of course, we are following the codes, but more than that, we would be more confident on the safety aspect of our customers. That's the prime thought we have while we are developing any project.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely required simulation, analysis and the interpretation on that, but I would talk beyond that. Simulation as built is okay, but per se, what I mean to say, per se it is not as per the statutory or regulatory, it is not required for getting any licenses and all that. That is one of the best practices for understanding our design and our output of design. But beyond that, one concept is there, that is MOC, management of change. Material of construction की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ मैं, that is management of change. As built, as design और as built में काफ़ी अंतर हो जाता है over a period.
Very right, yeah.
You add on the facilities, add on the structures, make the structural changes, make the another changes, and then original concept, as built concept, get deviated, and the mitigation and control established at that time are not enough to cater for the add-on hazards. So simulation is very, very important, but that should be practiced after every MOC, and that should again link with your practice of evacuation in form of drills. It is very much required. Then you will get the effective result or the outcome of your simulation exercise.
Very, very good point. So right now, especially MEP consultants, I want to ask you that in today's high-rise design, what you really think that there has to be a dynamics in which we can really make sure that our project is safe? What do you really think that these are the lacunas in current situation?
Ma'am, see the
And as I said that high-rises are not design-oriented, they are very much technology-oriented. First of all, as an architect, that's how I look at them. It's not about the emotions, but it's about structure, it's about the elevators, it's about MEP. So when I look at these technical aspects, what do you really think that in today's real estate market, you wish to change, that I really need these things to be in place for my systems to work, my specifications to work? What all those components you feel?
Ma'am,
And even I
nowadays-
want to hear from the developers too.
Ma'am, nowadays the first thing that is in place when we start the design is safety in design.
Can you define safety design?
Yeah, ma'am. It's all the services that we design. Our first priority is to look at the safety of the occupants. So that's how we start the design. So with this, there should all the safeties that are there should be all the services that are there should be so safe that in case of any hazardous event, the occupant should be evacuated safely within time, and the smoke extraction should take place. So all the CFDs, particularly the smoke patterns and other flow patterns, are worked out, and that's how the design begins with. And now it starts with the architects, the structural designers, with hand-to-hand collaboration with them, how to mark out how to demarcate the fire zones, the egress paths, and other things. And everywhere this concept is kept in front that yes, it has to be safe and design, and functionality has to be met. So as many as permutations and combinations have to be formed, they have to be formed. But both the things have to be met, the functionality and the safety in design. So that's how the design goes now.
Any project
many
where you
things have
felt
changed.
that you could 100% design with the safety?
The Airport Line Metro Express, Delhi.
Okay, that's great.
And it's a very prestigious project also.
Correct. Absolutely. That was-
दत्ता साहब जो बोल रहे हैं उसी को जोड़ के मैं बताता हूँ आपको कि आप कितना भी सेफ डिज़ाइन बना लीजिए, जब तक आप उसका चेक नहीं करोगे बार बार, तब तक आप यू कांट इंश्योर योर सेल्फ कि इट इज़ इन प्लेस. फॉर डैट यू नीड टू हैव periodic inspection, testing, verification, and compliance with your original design or intended design. That is the foremost requirement. डेवलपर ने अपना काम कर दिया, लेकिन जब उसने हैंड ओवर कर दिया, उसके बाद की जवाबदारी जो है ऑक्यूपेंट की शुरू हो जाती है. वो उसको इस्टेब्लिश करना है कि किस तरीके के मैकेनिज्म में मुझे जाना है.
It is from the design,
Absolutely true.
planning, procurement.
Absolutely
Then
true.
after delivering the material, there is a cross-check to verify the quality, what you have asked, what is being delivered.
Absolutely true.
Then check will work. Otherwise, if this part is missing, check will be remaining tick of checklist.
You are absolutely true, Dr. Chaturvedi.
When
Yeah, go ahead.
I believe the planning is missing. In procurement, people want 1,500 valves in about 2 months' time. How is it possible? And the specifications are haywire. I mean, sometimes I fail to understand why a person wants a complete stainless steel valve for a airline or for a firefighting line. When we go to convince, भाई यही आया है, यही करने का है, this is what you want, you give the price, that's it. So this is what, when we try to also educate, maybe for what, to understand where exactly and what is the requirement for, we don't get the answers. So they said, this is what we've got. I am supposed to do the check of who is the lowest and then give the order. That's it. So this is also lacking probably. There has to be a lot of communication. Enough time should be given. People should understand also a particular product will take so much time to manufacture, because everything now I feel the time of that cut paste is gone. Even a small building is looked at individually, how it has to be, what is required. In fact, in Bangalore, I think one of the architects said that client came and told me that I want a building in the moon. Architect said, I have to make it. I have to design it in the moon. How you do it, it's your problem.
Yeah, I mean, these challenges will always remain, and we have to overcome them. That's where we are. And I was about to come to the life cycle, and we are just left with the last 2 to 3 minutes. So exactly the point where I was coming to is the maturity and the life cycle of these equipments as well as various components. So with thoughts, I think I will close today's panel.
Yeah, from a real estate point of view, even if we design the safest building or safest real estate complex, unless it is maintained or operated by a well-trained team, there is no use of any design. So we have to have a regular, I don't know, it's no point in saying all these things in this forum, but we need to have a well-trained team.
Product or building construction material without compromising the safety?
I think if this question is to me or to everyone. Anybody?
So I will talk from a developer's perspective. So we are absolutely open for all innovative things which are more efficient, which do the required performance as per the codal laws that are laid by the authorities. So if they are able to, and of course, that helps. If they help on the cost perspective, nothing like it. So we are on a lookout for that, but we are not able to get those innovative products, at least in fire as of now. But these products are absolutely welcome till the time they comply to all the codal requirements.
Madam, one question from my side, if you allow. Thank you. My
Just
question.
1 minute. I mean.
Yeah, one question at 30 seconds. My question directly to Mr. Naveen. Naveen, you are designing positive pressurization in the staircase. So while you are designing, how many doors? You just want to be open while designing, achieve the 50 Pascal pressure. The number of maximum doors open while you are designing. Is it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? So, and if at all you are deciding a number, that I would like to know based on which principle you are deciding.
So the pressure ventilation that you are talking of, that my mechanical team does.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I got the answer.
So I think let's close today's session. We are over with the questions and we are running out of the time.
Can I add one comment?
Yeah, okay.
So since we were talking about performance-based, testing obviously is a very important aspect to it. So one thing which I would highlight, especially from a policy-making perspective, is that earlier I was a pure academic, so I was not really aware of how the world works. So that's how people think about academics. But now I've been involved in a bit of commercial testing. So I'll share one incident which has happened recently. So someone wanted to test a fire door. We sent a quotation. They gave the payment, and then a phone call came. Sir, we have sent the payment. When can we get the report? I said, sir, please send the sample. Right? So the question was, is it really necessary to send the sample? So that is, I think, from policy making perspective. I think we need to take some harsh steps so that these things can be curtailed. Otherwise, we can keep talking about a lot of rosy things, but implementation would not happen.
Well done. So thank you all the panelists, and I will be wait in the future when the brief comes from the client, and rather than saying that luxurious building, my client sends me a note that it's safe by design, and I think we are not far away from that day. And thank you everyone for contributing to the panel discussion. Thank you.
Ma'am, thank you, panelists. I will request, please stay on the stage for a group photograph.